Blast me to Electia. It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. Issue 54, Part 2. Paint Guide, Gallery, Rules, and Mission. That was a mouthful. Whew! Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. So we are focusing on issue 54's paint guide and my little top tips on how to paint the faces. So we will need the same colours as the magazine. So we'll want Reichland Flesh Shade first of all, and then we'll want Pallid Witch Flesh. So as you can see, I've got a Battle Sister here. She's the last one that needs painting. Well, her face anyway. I've painted up all the detail as the magazine says, but I've left her face till last. So we'll start with Reichland Flesh Shade, give the paint a good shake. We can take this straight from the pot. So I'm going to use my medium layer brush from my premium kit. Not premium kit, my subscriber gifts, as it is quite small detail. We'll just make sure we don't overload our brush by getting a small puddle on the palette. And then bring in the model. We can apply this to the face, moving it around just so it doesn't clog up all the detail. So we just want to make sure we coat over everything with that Reichland Flesh Shade. There. We'll leave that to dry and we can move on to the next stage. There we go. The face is nicely dried, and as you can see, the Reichland Flesh Shade has stained the Corax white a nice flesh colour. Now, we're going to pick out some highlights, and we'll be using Pallid Witch Flesh for this. It's a bit of a strong colour. I will suggest thinning it down a little more than normal. So to get it ready, we'll use the medium layer brush again. So we'll get a small amount of this on our palette, and then we're going to thin it down with a fair bit of water just to make sure it goes on nice and thin and not too overpowering. So there we go. I think that's quite nice. It's sort of, yeah, the consistency of milk. Nice and cloudy. Now to apply this, we're going to use a small brush. I've got a size 3 from the Works, just a pretty standard brush. It did have a name on there, but it's worn off. And as you can see, it has a nice thin tip, which is what we're looking for. So we're going to load up a brush with just a small amount of this paint. We don't want too much. But we're going to bring in our model and we're going to look at highlighting the prominent areas. So along her nose, forehead, backpack falling off, and then cheekbones, just like so. And we can even get her top lip. As you can see, that is quite overpowering. It does drain out a lot of the colour from the flesh. So what we're going to do is leave that to dry. And what we're going to do, just to knock it back a little bit extra, is to bring in some Reichland Flesh Shade again. And this time we're going to thin it down. So we'll get good brushful on a palette. And then we'll want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brushfuls of water just to help thin it down. And then we can take this nice thin wash and we can apply it again to the face. Like so. And as you can see, this shades the recesses again and also knocks back those pretty strong, overpowering highlights. And that is a simple way on how to improve on the paint guide from the magazine. Pretty simple tip, but as you can see, it works really well. Now, if I bring in my Arcoflagellants a moment. So this is the one we got with the magazine. As you can see, I've picked out the scars just as the magazine has depicted. And really, with the layer of powdered witch flesh over the top, it drowned out a lot of the detail, so it's kind of hard to pick out some of the scars. But if we bring in this Arcoflagellant, instead of layering up the powdered witch flesh, I left it as it was, thinned the pink about 5:1 with water, so it's a little bit thinner than they suggest in the magazine. And then afterwards I dry brushed with the powdered witch flesh, and as you can see, it's picked out the raised details of the scars and the open flesh, and it looks, I think, a little better than this method, which was the powdered witch flesh as a layer all over the flesh, and then I reshaded it with the thinned Reichland Flesh shade. As you can see, this one here, the older one, retains a slightly pinker look. You can see the skin looks a bit more bruising, whereas this one, the skin definitely looks a little bland and blotchy in places. But I do think that they both look quite nice either way, and we'll be able to use these in today's battle report. Speaking of, let's have a quick reminder of our new rules, and then we'll set up for today's mission. So here we have issue 54, or what's left of it, as I put most of it away. And so our rules are a set of stratagems for our battle sisters. So we got Extremist trigger word for Arcoflagellant, so each time an attack is made as weapon, make 3 hit rolls instead of 1. At the end of the phase, roll a d6. For each one model is destroyed. Moment of Grace, so this one helps protect your Adeptus Sororitas models. You may discard 1 to 2 miracle dice and increase a value of a rolled dice, so either a hit, a wound, or a saving throw. And you can increase the value by 1 for each miracle dice spent, so that's pretty cool. Then we got Deadly Descent, so this one allows your Seraphim to pretty much shoot twice. So on a turn they come in from a reinforcement, they may shoot as if it was your shooting phase. Then we have Defenders as the Faith, so 2 command points, so this is a pretty cool stratagem. So this allows a battle sister squad that is within range of an objective marker to gain the following benefits. So instead of following normal rapid fire rules, you may fire double shots at maximum range for your bolt weapons. And then each time an attack is made against this model, a unmodified wound roll of 1 to 3 automatically fails. So this makes your battle sisters a little more durable. And as we can see on the reverse, we've got a tutorial on how to use 2 of them. So Moment of Grace is, as it suggests, a good way of using your lower value dice. So you're not going to be using 2s and 3s a lot during your miracle dice during the game, as the majority of the times they won't be required to use. You might use a 2 just to guarantee a hit with a Canoness. But really, you can drop your lower value ones and use them to add to your failed save. So in the example here, we have a save roll of 2, which is a fail. So we spend 1 command point and discard 1 miracle dice. So it becomes a 3 now, which means we succeed in saving. Then we got a tutorial for Defenders of the Faith. So we got the Battle Sisters here sat on the objective. So that means they get to rapid fire at maximum range. And then we have here the Overlord charging in. And normally he'd wound them on a 2, but because of the Defenders of the Faith ability, he can't wound them on better than a 4+. So there we have it. That is our new rules, and we're ready for our new mission. So we see the Royal Warden face off against all of the Adeptus Sororitas models we have, as we try to control the landing zone ready for reinforcements. So I will set up the battlefield, and I'll be right back. Before we dive into the battle report, I forgot, here we have our finished Adeptus Sororitas models from issue 54. So we got our 3 bare-headed battle sisters, our 2 bare-headed seraphim, our different alternate headed Repentia. Oh boy, my tongue is not wanting to work today. And we have the different head here on our Archoflagellant. So these are all done up to the current level that the magazine shows us. I believe in issue 56 there is a tutorial for additional details for our battle sisters, focusing mainly on the Penting engine, the superiors from issue 59, and the Canoness from all the way back in issue 42. Right. So there we have it, some lovely looking models, and really the swappings or just the alternate heads really does give a little bit of extra different character to our otherwise similar looking models. So there we have it. Right, on to our battle report. So here we are all set up ready for today's mission. So the Necrons are the defenders, and they are trying to deny the Imperium from capturing the landing zone. To denote that, we have 3 objectives in the landing zone area. So it's described as being pretty open, so I've only put a few pipes and crates. Most of the buildings are in the back corners here. Deployment zones are 3/4 of 1/2 of the game mat for each side. So Necrons down here, Sisters up there. I've deployed the 10 warriors ready to move forward there. 5 mortals there. Royal Warden backing them up. Scarabs and Wraith here with the frayed ones in reserve. Battle Sisters over here. Canoness, Repentia Engine, Repentia and Mistress, and the Archoflagellants here. And the Seraphim in reserve. I'm using the same rules as the last 2 missions, so we gain 3 command points at the start of the game, then we gain 1 point from turn 2 onwards. The game is basically capture and control, gain as many objective points as possible. You gain 1 for each objective, and another 1 if you can control more than your opponent at the end of your turn. I've elected to activate Divine Guidance for my Battle Sisters. And the Necrons sadly don't get anything as I don't have a Noble in command of the Force. So, here we go then, with some dramatic reading. War of Faith. Adeptus Sororitas reinforcements have finally arrived in orbit over Electia. As the Imperial fleet battles Necron vessels high above, Adeptus Ministorum dropships plummet through the atmosphere to deposit their holy warriors in the heart of the fight. Their first task, secure a landing area for the Allies. Only then can the Imperium's armed forces attempt to break through the Necron lines and reach the Basilica of St. Marcius, where the survivors continue to hold out. Necrons, Royal Warden, delay the advance. The Necrons' Royal Warden has been ordered to lead the Overlord's legions against the descending Adeptus Sororitas forces. This cunning battlefield commander has positioned his forces around likely landing zones in an attempt to prevent its enemies from gaining foothold on Electia's surface. Adeptus Sororitas Canoness, the Emperor's Vengeance. The Adeptus Sororitas have landed in scattered positions across the surface of Electia's battle-scarred Hive City. These scattered bands of warriors now rally to the call of their Canoness commander. Under her command, they seek to drive back the Necrons and then allow the rest of their forces to descend in good order. So, there we have it. We have 5 turns to gain as many victory points as possible. The only thing left to do is to roll off to see who gets first turn. The Necron sees it with 4-1. So here we go then, with Necrons, turn 1. And end of turn 1 already, so it's been pretty eventful. The Scarabs, Wraith and Warriors all moved up. Wraith and Warriors advanced. And landing on all the objectives, scoring 3 points. And as the mission doesn't say not scoreable in the first turn, they have 4 points thanks to controlling more than the objective. So it's a little bit on the... It's basically because of the wording in there, I'm allowing the extra point for the Necrons. So yeah, they didn't do much in their turn. Just advanced up and claimed objectives. The Immortals and Royal Warden are hunkering down here, ready to spring a deadly trap, hopefully. In the Sororitas turn, things went a little bit better. Sisters and Canoness bundled out the building and shot into the warriors, killing 5, but 2 reanimated. So they were back here and I reanimated them closer in an attempt to get rapid fire. But the sisters, being a little bit more aggressive, have decided to charge, and I wiped out 1 Necron. No Necrons, but they wiped out 2 sisters. The Pentagon engine charged into the Scarabs, killed 1 base with its heavy flamers in the shooting phase, and killed the other 2 bases with its buzzsaws in the combat phase. I was so close to reviving 1 base of Scarabs. If I'd rolled all 8 dice at the same time, I would have saved 1 base, but as I rolled them 4 at a time for each base, I failed by just 1 dice. So yes, sadly the Scarabs are dead, and I didn't get a chance to use self-destruction. After the sisters fought, the Necrons dropped 2 command points for the Wraith to intervene, which helped. It killed 1 of the Archoflagellants. But then the Archoflagellants struck back with Extremist trigger word, rolling a grand total of 15 dice, only wounding with 6 of them though. And after an initial re-roll, because I did wound with 7, and he failed. I totally forgot about Zealot, so I re-rolled everything in a hope to get more hits. I ended up with less, and the Wraith survived, only taking 2 out of his 3 wounds, so he's still alive, ready to do some damage next turn. End of the Imperium's turn. They score a single point for the objective. Actually, no, because technically they have 2 models there instead of 1, so that's 2 points. And over here, the Necrons definitely have more within range of the objective. So there's still quite a lot to play for, but it is only turn 2. Okay, end of turn 2, and the Sisters have dominated. So the Necrons started by moving out and taking aim at the Pentia engine. The Wraith did fall back with the hope of shooting and charging, but he failed his charge. Flayed Ones did come in, right back there, 9 inches away from the Repentia, and they managed to actually make their charge, and they got in. Then during the piling step, 3 of them piled into the Repentia, and 2 piled into the Mistress. It took until the Sisters' turn to wipe out the Mistress, but the Repentia are now down to 1. They only just passed their morale test, so she's holding in there. Shooting the Royal Warden and the Immortals put 2 wounds on the Pentia engine, and the Wraith fluffed, basically. Moving on to the Sisters' turn. So I dropped a lot of command points in the Sisters' turn, most of them for rerolls. One of the command rerolls was to, for the Necrons, was to reroll his wound dice, which worked. And I managed to put 4 the wounds on him, thanks to the Immortal. I managed to ignore quite a lot of them, thanks to the 5+ ignore. Moving on to the Sisters' turn. So like I said, I dropped a lot of command points and a lot of miracle dice. First off, the Seraphim came in. I dropped a command point for their miraculous descent and got a free shoot and did nothing. I did drop a miracle dice to auto wound with a plasma pistol, but they managed to get a 6+ save, which wasn't very helpful. In the shoot phase, I repeated it. I shot as normal with the plasma pistol, overcharged this time, and dropped another miracle dice of 5 to guarantee a auto wound. And I killed 2, and I managed to kill another one thanks to a bolt pistol. That was a really lucky shot. And in the shoot phase, the Flamers didn't do much, I'm afraid. Battle Sisters actually wiped out 3 Necron warriors thanks to bolt pistols in combat. That wasn't very nice. And they proceeded to chop them up with chainswords and gun butts in the fight phase. Fighting over here, again, it turned bloody. I lost another Repentia, and I lost the Mistress, thanks to the Flayed Ones. They got a nice lot of 6s. So there's way too many wounds for me to just ignore. The Arco Flatulence charged into and killed the Wraith, then fell back towards the objective. But it is sitting now at 5 each, so we do have to play turn 3 to see who becomes the victor. But I have a slight feeling it will be the Imperium. But let's just see how things go. On to Necrons. Turn 3. I'm not even bothering to go to Sisters turn 3 because they've done more damage in their turn than they probably would have done in the opponent's turn. Frankly, it all fell apart. I've dropped the command point I gained for a reroll on the Immortals to hit, and that ended up backfiring because I only wounded once. If I'd kept that command point, I could have revived my Royal Warden, who sadly died in the ensuing fight phase to buzzsaws. The Immortal charged the Seraphim after killing one of them, and they took absolute vengeance and slaughtered him 3 times over. The Flayed Ones managed to kill the Repentia, though, so moral victory for them. But this is going to be the killer. Those 4 points that the sisters now gain, 3 objectives, plus more than the opponent, puts them at 9-5. And it's nearly that time, actually. Actually, no, that's not. It's only 9 past 6. So there we have it. That is the end of Imperium 54 and this set of issues. So once the postal strikes for this week are over, I should be getting my post a little bit late next week. So I should be coming in with the unboxing at some point this coming week. But quickly before we go, let's take a look at the future Imperiums. So issue 55, we get our final set of pipes. And what I don't get is we now have these pipes, so why have they shown... I've seen somebody's review of issue 56. In issue 56, they show the reversed mats with the printed terrain, and they show the crates and containers being put down over the pipes. I'm guessing they just copied it from the last time that was used and forgot to remove the containers and put in the pipes. But we should now have our completed set of pipes, so 2 sets of pipes. I probably won't be building mine as the magazine shows. I'm going to build up a few different components, which I'll be showing you in that issue. So yeah, new terrain, we're learning about the Iron Hands, and we have new objectives for our missions. Moving on, then we get 56, 2 new paints, so Baylor Brown and Diminished Sharpened Grey. There's been a lot of people reporting the Baylor Brown is missing. So if you are missing that, don't worry too much. You'll probably get it replaced in a later issue. But just contact Hachette and they should be able to sort out. We get the 2 new paints, we learn about the Officio Assassinorum, and we put highlights on our models. So we are putting our highlights on a lot of models. We are painting the Cryptek Technomancer, the Triarch Stalker, a lot of the Ultramarines, so mostly focusing on the Librarian, as he's got a lot of brown and grey on him. So we're going to be learning about camo patterns, which is pretty cool. And we are going to be highlighting a lot of the Battle Sister stuff, so we're going to be looking at a lot of the leather work, and I don't know whether we'll be highlighting the armour or not. I haven't looked too much at the review and close-ups, but we'll find out when we get to issue 56. So there we have it. That is it for issues 54 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium. And all what's left to say is thank you all for watching. If you think I deserve it, please give this video a like. And if you don't already, please subscribe to the channel, as it will help the channel grow. Starting from next issue's video, so issue 55, I will be offering a question of the video, or possibly a question of the issue. But depending on how many videos the issue covers. But I'll definitely be posting a question to you. I'll be writing down a few of those over the next few days, just to give me some ideas of what I can ask you, the most lovely viewers. But again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time for more mad content. Goodbye.